Oh, I did not record the class. Oops. I hope the definition is clear to everyone. So from this definition, what we understand is that learning is a process. Please listen. Learning is a process which brings about a relatively permanent change in behavior, which occurs due to practice and experience and not due to growth and maturation. Okay, I'm writing it in the chat box. Now see, in this definition, first of all, that we are to know that it is a relatively permanent change. The change in behavior which occurs due to learning is always a permanent one. Okay, it is not temporary, like when you are under the effect of drugs, when you are mentally so tired, you know, we show some temporary change in behavior which cannot be considered as learning. And it is a change in behavior which occurs due to practice or experience. Something that you learn out of practicing, out of experiencing is considered as learning, and it is not the output of growth and maturation. Now coming to the characteristics of learning. Can I go ahead with the characteristics, students? Can I go ahead with the characteristics?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, see, on the basis of these various definitions that we have studied, a few characteristics of learning is listed. One is learning is growth. Learning is adjustment. Learning involves intelligence. To learn something, you have to have minimum intelligence. Learning is active. When you are active, then only learning takes place. You cannot learn something when you are passive, when you are not participating. Okay? Learning is the product of environment. To learn, we need a proper environment. Learning is both individual and social. We learn something when we are alone, and we learn when we are with others in the society. Learning is purposeful. When we learn something, we have a purpose. We do not learn anything purposelessly, okay? Learning is organizing experience. All living is learning. All living things learn. True learning affects the conduct of the learner. When learning is taking place, it will modify the behavior of the learner. Learning is universal. Universal means learning will take place, people residing in any part of the country, you know, every one of us learn in the same manner. It is not that people who are in the Western countries, they learn things differently as we do. No, it is universal. Learning is change. Here, see, learning is change means the change is not always for good. Like we learn good things, we can learn bad things also. So it results in a change in behavior, which can be for good or bad as well. Then learning is a process, not a product. Okay, it is a process. Then learning is transferable. From one activity, we go to the other activity. Okay, so learning is transferable. See, suppose I'm learning one activity, I can transfer my learning from that activity to other. That is why it becomes easier to do similar things. Yes or no? Suppose one has learned how to dance. That person can do gymnastic also. Yes? Or a person who does gymnastic can be a good contemporary dancer. Here learning is transferable from one activity to other. Now learning is total reaction of the individual to total situation. Learning is global. We react as a whole to the entire situation. Now, in its simplest form, learning means acquisition of experience. All this you know, we have already spoken about it. In its complex form, learning involves acquisition. We acquire experience, retention. Retention means we store the experience and modification of experience. The experience gets modified. Like you see, when you grow up, what happens? You become more and more experienced. Huh? So, you know, with age, people become more wiser. Why? Why do they become wiser with age? Because it is their modification of experience that is making them grow more and more wiser. Then it means establishing new relationships between stimulus and response. Now, what is stimulus and what is response? Stimulus is an event. Okay, it is an external event which evokes a response. Say rain and umbrella. Rain is the stimulus and opening the umbrella to protect us from the rain is the response. So in learning, we try to see new connections between a stimulus and a response. It means development of method of problem solving. We are able to solve problems because of learning. If there is no learning, we cannot solve problems. It is motivated by adjustment to environment. Learning teaches us how to adjust to environment. It includes all activities which leave a permanent effect. See, it results in a relatively permanent change in behavior. That is what they are mentioning here. Then the process of learning includes all this, you know, acquiring new experiences, retention of new experiences. First we acquire the experience, then we save or store the experience. Then this experience develops step by step with practice. The more you practice, the more you develop. Then synthesizes and organizers of the old and new experience. Now you see, how do we create something? To create something, we have to bring together the old information that we have already gathered and the new experiences. Now, when this old and new experiences are being synchronized, when they are organized, it results in some creative output. Then learning is possible both on the cognitive. Learning is a mental process. It also involves emotion, and it also involves cognitive side. Cognitive means your this one. One is emotion is behavioral side, okay? Cognitive is the behavioral part. Now you see, acquisition of knowledge is cognitive because you require the mental process. Please understand, cognitive means mental. Learning is possible because if you do not have memory, no learning can take place. If your mental mechanisms do not work, you cannot learn. Then comes emotion. Modification of emotion is affected. When you learn something, you feel happy. If you learn new things, if you're successful, you feel happy. That is the affective component. And cognitive side, that is reflected in your behavior. Students, are you okay with this much? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Are you all there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
See, when you find it difficult, please interrupt, okay? When you are not being able to understand something, you can ask me immediately, huh? Now coming to the types of learning, one is skill learning. Now what is skill? Right from the birth, the child acquires skill. His bodily organs learn to handle the things. He moves his leg, begins to crawl. All these things are skill. When a baby learns from the time he is born. In source of time, he learns other motor skills like walking, Speaking, drawing, writing, reading, playing music, cycling, and swimming. All these are skill learning. All these are skills, playing music, cycling, then all this, which a person learns from his birth. Now coming to perceptual learning. The child gets sensation through his organs of sense and he attaches meaning to each sensation. See, the child can understand the mother's voice and the child can differentiate, yes or no, which is the voice of the mother and which is the voice of his or her aunt. So this is called perceptual learning. The child can differentiate one object from another. He can recognize. He will never say an apple as a banana. So he perceives different things differently. That is called perceptual learning. Now coming to, this is okay, conceptual learning. Concepts. The child learns concepts. How? See, the child has an idea of a cow. When we teach what is a cow, we say that a cow is a domestic animal because this and this. The cow, it gives us milk. A cow is a four-legged animal. It is this shape. So the child has already a concept of cow. Now one day a child sees a similar object approaching, which looks like a cow. Then the child will definitely say that that is a cow. Okay? Thus, the child proceeds from particular to general. Particular, here he has particularly adopted the concept of a cow. Now, when he sees similar objects, again he will develop a concept overall. Okay. Now, coming to associative learning. Associative means new concepts are tagged with the past concepts through association. Iraswa, when a cow, the child has again a concept of cow. When the child sees another object, he will first try to match the characteristics with, associate the characteristics of the already developed concept of a cow. If the characteristics matches, then he will say that, yes, this is a cow. And if the characteristics do not match, then the child will say that, no, this is not a cow. So here the child has compared the new concept with the past concept, okay? And that is how he has associated. Okay, understood? Again, association, see, suppose a burning child breaks the side of fire. When the child touches a candle, he gets burned. So the child associates the touching of candle with burning. In future, will the child touch the candle? No, the child will never touch the candle because he has associated touching of the candle with being burned. Now coming to appreciation and learning. While conceptual learning is on the affective side, a child from the very beginning utilizes his inborn trait of aesthetic sensibility. He learns to appreciate things. A child appreciates colors. That is why, children like bright colors. We say this is called appreciation and learning. The child from his childhood learns to appreciate certain things. It is the inborn trait of the child. And coming to attitudinal learning, which is learning of some attitude. A child develops an attitude of affection towards his mother, an attitude of reverence towards the teacher, and an attitude of belongingness towards the family. His attitude towards play is favorable. All this, the attitudes are what? These are dispositions towards certain object. Attitudes are disposition, okay, which will determine how we behave towards some object. If we have a positive attitude, we are likely to, behave, or we are likely to have a very good affection towards that particular object. And if we have a bad attitude towards something, we will not even try. So these are some of the types of learning. These are the characteristics of learning and the definitions of learning. So I will share this PPT in our this cognitive psychology group today. You can use this as your notes also, because the PPT, if you see, it is given in detail. Okay, so you can use this as your notes also. Okay, students. So that's all for today. I'm winding up the meeting. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh yes, and regarding your attendance, everyone. Wait. Regarding your attendance, is everyone present? Your attendance. 8 of you are present, right? Dikshita present.
Present, ma'am.
Then Vaishali present. Swati present.
Present, ma'am.
Vanari present.
Present, ma'am.
Mamta present.
Present, ma'am.
Nasmi present. Somnibala present. Did I miss out anyone? Okay, thank you, students.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.